about to show you could save your life. Just a few steps. This is what I'm talking about. Everything down here is homemade, healthy, organic meats with no chemicals or preservatives. Some last for up to 7 years. And some, like pemmican, can even go up to 50. That means you and your family will have years-long supply of good, healthy food no matter what the future holds, without resorting to bacteria and heavy metals-infested canned meat. So if you want your family safe and well-fed throughout the next hurricane, blizzard, blackout, or whatever disaster is heading our way, just stick with me for the next few minutes and I'll tell you you can have your own panic room filled to the brim in under a week, with just dimes on the dollar, using a long-lost meat preservation and curing technique that literally saved my life. But first, let me ask you this. Do you remember the taste of authentic smoked bacon? Or the taste of juicy, mouth-watering country ham and link sausages? Unfortunately, only a few remember that taste, and even fewer enjoy it nowadays, because we have forgotten our roots. We have strayed ourselves from what's good and what's healthy, always running to make ends meet, trapped in a never-ending loop by supermarket monopolies and time-convenient MREs and pre-cooked food. But what if I told you there's a dirt-cheap and easy way you can have it all back? Your health, energy, and stamina. That awesome taste of homemade organic meats, and a fully stocked protein cellar to last for years. Well, if you want to enjoy all that and feel like a kid again, waking up in your grandma's house while being 100% confident your family is well fed no matter what the future brings, then I need you to do me a favor. Turn off the TV, the radio, exit out of Facebook, and pay close attention. This important message is not for everyone. If you've declared yourself a vegan or a vegetarian, please close this window now. Have a great day and an awesome life, while you still can. Because not a single survival story starts with, I sauteed a broccoli. When it hits the fan and supermarkets run out of chia seeds, avocado toast, and guacamole, you'll be the first to kick the bucket. Now, if you're not one of the above, if you're a real man, start taking notes, because today I'm going to share with you the lost art of preserving all kinds of meat off-grid for up to 7 years. So you'll not only survive, but thrive through famine, war, economic crises, pandemic, droughts, and anything else life can throw at us. This will ensure your children will be well fed, while others are forced to rummage through trash like dogs in the street. But the simple fact is, having this knowledge now will not only improve your survival chances, but will also improve your life immediately. Because in this short video, I will also expose the 3 secret meat preservation techniques that literally anyone can use to fill their cellars to the brim with nothing but healthy organic protein-packed meats for just dimes on the dollar. My name is James Cole. You may know me from my website, bioprepper.com, or you may even have seen my posts in the media. But few of you know me personally. Even fewer know my story. So pay close attention, because this video will change your life. I loved hiking ever since I was a kid. Something about the crisp morning air and the feeling of pure freedom kept me coming back to the trails week after week. My life-changing trip started no differently. It was a typical Saturday morning in November, cold, sunny, and beautiful, and would have been the last hike of the year. One last chance to feel the freedom I so loved. I reached the forest, parked my car near the tree line, and headed down my usual path. An hour into it, I spotted a trail I had never walked before and decided to check it out. But after only 10 minutes, the trail ran out. Okay, no problem. I've walked these woods for the past 5 years. I'll manage if I dig a little deeper. I had a compass and good knowledge on navigating through the wilderness. It wasn't my first rodeo, so I wasn't really afraid I'd get lost. But after walking for a couple of miles, clouds started gathering. I thought freak blizzards were something you see on the news. It couldn't happen to me. But it did. Half an hour later, I was up to my knees in snow trying to see the dial on my compass. I kept walking for hours to keep my blood flowing, hoping to reach the car. I knew I was a dead man if I stopped to rest. But my hands were freezing, so I could only look at the compass once every 5 minutes. I was going in circles. Nightfall was closing in, and building a shelter was impossible. By the end of the day, I could barely walk. The thick snow I was literally swimming through had taken its toll. I was freezing, dead tired, and hungry. I couldn't feel my legs. I had to stop for a minute. As I lay down, I noticed something through the trees. I thought I was seeing things. I tried to get closer, but I couldn't stand up again. So I crawled. It was an old cabin. I thanked God for guiding my steps to it and crawled to the front door. With my last bit of strength, I reached for the handle and opened the door. I remember crawling inside. It felt like a butcher's knife was cutting away my fingers. It hurt so bad. I cried for help, but I got no answer. The fireplace was cold. There was no one home. I did my best to stand up and find something to eat. I searched the kitchen cabinets, the stove, nothing. No cans or dried food of any sort. Then I noticed a staircase going down into the basement, and I'll never forget what I saw once I opened that door. Salvation! Hundreds of pounds of smoked meat, bacon, ham, and sausages. Enough food to last for a year. My hands were shaking. I grabbed a string of link sausages and started eating. It was the best food I'd ever had. To this day, I still cannot imagine something more delicious than those sausages. As soon as I got my strength back, I lit up a fire and got warm, and started wondering whose cabin was it and where could he be? Hopefully not in the white storm I barely survived. And so I waited. The night turned into day, and the day turned into a week. I had everything I needed to thrive. A cellar filled with food, wood for the fire, and tons of snow to melt for fresh water. I even found a couple of good books to pass the time. But no one came. The blizzard had stopped, but it was still cloudy, so an attempt to leave was futile. After 15 days, I heard someone stumping his feet at the door. The owner of the cabin had finally returned. His name was Rick, a rugged old man who didn't like guests. I believe this is called trespassing. Who are you and what are you doing in my house? Tell me now before I shoot you where you stand. And I started talking like an auctioneer. I explained how I got there, how I almost died in the blizzard and how his cabin and his meat stockpile saved my life. It was odd at first. He was a trapper, a real-life mountain man, not the chattiest kind of guy. But after a couple of hours, we started talking. I really wanted to know how he got all that food stockpiled up into the woods. You think I bought it, boy? I made it. I hunted, tracked, and trapped everything from venison to wild boars and turned them into food with my own hands. And as I see it, you didn't hold back on eating these 2 weeks, so you'll help me fill the gaps. This ain't no free lunch. And so it began. I stayed for a whole month, helped, learned, and took notes on everything the old man told me. In mid-December, the weather gave us a break, and I decided I had to leave if I wanted to get home for the holidays. My friends had probably declared me dead after being gone for a month and a half. I thanked him from all my heart and asked if I could come visit him from time to time. You're a tough kid, I'll give you that, he told me. Come by in the spring, and if I'm still here, we'll talk about it. I just knew I had to learn more from him. I still loved the woods. After all, it wasn't nature's fault that I was so ill-prepared. It was mine. So I spent time with the old man nearly every weekend for 2.5 years, writing down every single last word he had to say, trying to document his knowledge as best as I could. In the late summer of '99, I found him peacefully resting in his bed. God had finally decided that he needed him more than I did. I still think of him as the best friend and mentor that I've ever had. He was like a second father to me. Rick was a friend that helped me become a man, a friend that taught me everything I now know about surviving in the wild, smoking, curing, and cooking meat, foraging for medicinal and edible plants, and preserving any kind of food to last for decades. Now, I've seen with my own eyes how a bright sunny sky darkens in a matter of minutes. Temperatures drop by 30 and even 10 inches of snow gets people lost, because that's where we'd be without food, bearings, and warmth. Lost. All the money in the world won't help you then. No one can protect you. Chances are, when disaster strikes, 99% you'll face it alone. So only one thing can make the difference between starving and being fed, freezing and being warm, light and darkness. And that's being prepared. And with today's response and missing people scenarios, you might be sitting in a ditch, freezing both inside and out, or even worse, for up to a week. This is something that can save your life and your loved ones around you.